Hello ladies and gents, welcome to this video, and in this video I will be talking about the Canon EOS R6, which is shooting me right now as a video camera. So let's get right into it. First thing, let's get straight into it. The R6 has a very nice 4K image quality, and I have been pretty impressed by it. It shoots in 5K, downsamples that into a 4K video. So the sensor is 20 megapixels for photos and videos, but the 20 megapixel comes in handy to shoot 4K videos, especially in low light. And on top of it, I think the colors, especially Canon colors, are pleasing to the eye. I'm not gonna say it's the right color or the wrong color, it's the best color, but someone who, like me, who doesn't color grade that much, I like to have everything in camera and tweak it in camera and then shoot it. I think the colors look pretty good with the 4K image. Right out of the box, I use the neutral profile, sharpness, contrast, saturation, tweaked. Now let's go to the frame rate. This shoots 4K 60 frames per second. It again also shoots 4K 30 frames per second, and it shoots 4K 24 frames per second. And then it has a new edition of 1080p 120 frames per second, and with 1080p 60 frames per second and 1080p 24 frames per second. The 1080p 120 frames per second looks pretty good. It's a little soft compared to a 4K 120 frames per second, but it is, as you can see, me putting on the sunglass on, it is pretty good. It's not that much of a soft image, but I'll say that in a case where you need 120 frames per second, you can do that. So the R6 shoots 10-bit internally 4K footage, and I think which is an upgrade from the 8-bit that the EOS R shoots. So I think you get a lot of room to grade the footage, play around with it if you're shooting C-Log, which is a plus. And then they have added in-body image stabilization with this camera. So as you can see, I did some walking around with this camera. I took it out for a spin and I did a lot of handheld shooting with it. The image stabilization is pretty good. I tried to vlog with it too. My father is trying to take a picture of me vlogging. Look at him. He's the iPhone photographer. Let me see if it focuses on him. The autofocus. Oh, it does. Yep. I don't know if we're gonna fit in together in the same frame. Look at him. All right. So this is a. You need a lot of arm strength if you want to try to vlog with this camera and hold it like this with this lens, especially because if I put it like this, yeah, it doesn't work. To see the whole face, 35 millimeters. Trying to vlog with a 35 millimeter is not that easy. It's not that fun, but we'll see. How does the ibis look? Or maybe I should vlog like this. Much better? Maybe? Holding the lens. Is there an ibis wobble? We'll find out. I had a 35 millimeter lens on the camera, so the vlogging part is it's not recommended with a 35 millimeter RF STM lens, the macro one. But again, the in-body image stabilization comes in handy if you want to vlog with it. If you want to do a run and gun handheld shooting, which I do a lot. I do a lot of handheld shooting, so the in-body image stabilization, or the IBIS, comes in pretty handy. So now let's see how the camera feels in the hand. Ergonomically, I think it's a little bigger than the EOS R. I don't have the EOS R side by side to compare it, but it is a little bigger. The grip feels pretty nice. It feels good in the hand, but it's not a small camera. It's bigger than the Sony a7 III. It's bigger than the a7S II. It's a little bigger than the EOS R. It is, I think, bigger than the GH4 that I have. I consider the GH4 the perfect size for my hands, but I think it's a little bigger than that. So if you put in a 24 to 105 lens or a bigger lens, this will become a pretty heavy camera. So keep that in mind. It's not the heaviest camera. It is kind of like a perfect size for a lot of people, but I think I would have liked it to be a little smaller. But the grip feels pretty good in my medium-sized hands. So like most of the Canon cameras, this one has a flip-out screen like the EOS R, the RP, and the R5, which comes in pretty handy because I am actually using it right now and I'm shooting with the flip-out screen. I'm looking at it right now, so which is pretty good. And then considering the flip-out screen, which comes in handy, we go straight to the dual pixel autofocus 2, which is a pretty nice feature. It's a little bit upgraded from the EOS R. This is a very good feature if you're a one-man band. This is a pretty nice feature to have. It tracks your face, your eyes pretty nicely. Most of the time you're always in focus. You can also tap to focus on the background. Yes, I can do that on the lamp. And then I can press tap to focus it on my face. So this is a pretty nice feature. That I find the transition pretty smooth, the focus transition. Again, you don't have to use it. You can always go back to manual focusing, but comes in handy in a situation like this when you're doing a talking head kind of a video and you're the only person recording it. Now let's talk about the dynamic range. If you're shooting C-Log, the dynamic range is pretty good. I think you can do a lot with the dynamic range. But if you're shooting the standard or neutral profile or stuff like that right out of the box, it's not going to compare to the Blackmagic, Ariel Alexa, Red camera's dynamic range. For a hybrid camera, I think the dynamic range is pretty good. And this camera also has a dual SD card slots, UHS-2 preferably, required or preferred. So the R6 shoots IPB format in all recording frame rates. Good thing about shooting IPB is that it enhances or it doesn't hinder your workflow, especially if you're editing it on an older computer. So I have a 2015 MacBook Pro, a laptop. I wanted to test it out to see if I can edit on the go, and I can edit on that MacBook Pro. And I was able to cut through it by using Final Cut without any lag, without any stuttering, without any drop frames. 4K timeline, 4K 24 frames per second. So I think the IPB format has something to do with it. I didn't try the All-I because the R6 doesn't have the All-I, and I didn't have the R5 to test out the All-I codec. And let's address the elephant in the room. I'm looking at it right now. The overheating sign just popped up. This is a interview style kind of a talking head video I'm shooting, and I haven't shot for like what, 12 minutes at a stretch. But mind you, I'd use this camera to do some B-roll stuff for my other video, like on the Apple Watch and stuff like that. So the camera gave me the overheat warning, and it is giving me the overheat warning right now. And this is indoors in a room temperature. If you'd like to see a more in-depth test on the overheating, click on the link above somewhere here. I will post that link. I did a comprehensive test on the overheating of this R6. But yeah, again, I did more tests after that, and the conclusion is the same. I did the run and gun style shooting for a day. I took pictures, I took videos. If you stop and start, your timer goes back, comes back up, goes down, comes back up if you turn off the camera. But if you're shooting, you're pausing, but the camera is still on, it is affecting the timer. You're getting the overheating. Right now I'm getting the overheating. So after the overheating starts, you're probably gonna get 5 minutes. If you're lucky, you're gonna get 7 minutes with the time the overheating sign on. And that's not ideal. I'm not gonna say, even with the updated firmware 1.1.1, that is not a good thing to have. And that is where this camera really lacks in terms of the perfect hybrid camera. If there was no overheating, this would have been the best hybrid camera that right now on the market. With that price point of $2,500. But with that overheating, you cannot use it for prolonged periods during a wedding. You cannot shoot continuously if you're covering events. Hell, you can't even shoot like this when you're doing much more retakes or stuff like that, a narrative style, or maybe a talking head. The overheating is an issue, and I hope that Canon comes up with another firmware update which maximizes the overheating recording times. The recovery times are better with this firmware update, but you barely get 30 minutes give or take, or 35 minutes give or take. Depends on how you shoot. The way I shoot, the way I'm shooting right now, I'm getting 30 minutes without turning off the camera. Even if you're shooting, you're stopping, but you forget to turn off the camera, the overheating is a bummer. There are no two ways about it. So for that reason, this cannot be the perfect hybrid camera for video and for stills. So that's where also, as a video camera, this lacks. This is basically a stills camera first, then you have additional video camera features on it. But this is not the perfect video camera. So now this begs the question, should you get this camera for video? If you ask me, I will say that you can, once the price goes down to $2,000, maybe. Not at this price point of $2,500. It's not that I'm bashing Canon or anything like that. It's just that I believe that everything comes down to price eventually, price and features. And with the features on paper and the price, this looked pretty good. But once you use it with the overheating, I don't think it's a $2,500 camera with the current situation with overheating. If they improve it, yes, then the price is good. Overheating mostly solved, then this is a killer hybrid camera. But for this price point, I don't think this can be your main camera for video, and that is a very sad thing, because this had the potential to be your main camera for video and for photos. And this begs a good question. The EOS R with a Metabone speed booster, with the crop factor going down from 1.7 to 1.2, might be a better option. Probably you can get it for $2,000 to the $2,100, and maybe $2,200, and that doesn't overheat. The 4K is not as crispy as this, but it is 4K, full frame, almost full frame. By the way, this one is not fully full frame. This has a crop of 1.1, which you're not gonna notice, but it's not total full 4K full frame. So yeah, the EOS R with Metabone speed booster might be a good alternative to the R6 if you want to stay with Canon. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gents. I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to the channel. That will help out immensely on this channel. I do this for a hobby, so subscribers, I'm grinding it out, and I'll try to post more content on cameras and gadgets and stuff like that. Maybe cars, who knows. Thank you so much for watching. This is Kazi signing out. Take care.